My name is Boots Allen, and the fly I'm tying for you today is a crawfish pattern that was shown to me by a kid named Jeff Lantham in Austin, Texas. I was going to graduate school in Austin, Texas, off and on for about 6 years. And of course, a lot of bass fishing, smallmouth, and black bass and white bass. And this is a pattern that I used off and on while I was down there. Now living back home here in eastern Idaho and western Wyoming, there's a few reservoirs around, Ryrie Reservoir, Blackfoot Reservoir, with a fair amount of bass, and I use this pattern on those reservoirs as well. We're going to start off with a Alec Jackson hook. Basically, you can call it a salmon hook, but has the open end to it right in here, and right there at the eye. That's the hook we're going to use to tie this fly. You could probably use any standard hook you wanted to, but this is how Jeff had started. It was the one that he had used when he showed it to me. So we'll get started. I'm going to use some burnt orange thread here. It's 140 unit thread, and we'll get started getting that on the hook. I'm going to cover it from the eye, going on back to the bend. Trim off the tag here. This is going to be the front of the fly, actually, the back piece. So we're going to work from the front of the fly forward. The first thing we're going to use are some little feather ends from a ringneck pheasant. I don't do much hunting for birds, and certainly don't do any for a ringneck pheasant, but we got these feathers right from here, right from under the ring, right in through here. And I previously stripped some of those off. You want these to kind of flare out a bit. We're going to put one on each flank. And what these are going to do is basically be the large claws on the crawfish. Those will flare out just a wee bit like so. Get another one going on the other side. It's a fair amount of material requirements for this fly, but it's still a pretty darn easy fly to tie. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring that forward and tie all of that down as opposed to trimming it off. And it will get all of this here, the little butt ends, that will get covered by some more material that we're going to use. So here's your claws that are in there now. Next thing we're going to do is throw on legs and antennae, which will be kind of flaring off to the front part of this fly. Remember, the front part is right up forward here. So we're going to use about 3 different types of material for that. First will be copper flashabou, this material here. Various manufacturers of that. I'm going to use probably about 4 of these strands. And these will be coming off kind of the top piece of the fly, which is actually the bottom, because this fly is going to ride just like that. We're going to tie on a set of dumbbell eyes right about in here, and that's going to be cause that hook to ride with the hook up. So this is actually the bottom of the fly. I'm going to tie those coming in right about there, and they're going to just extend just slightly past the claws. And I don't place these in any specific position. They're just coming right off the top of it. Give that a snip. Next piece we're going to do is get some Peacock Curl on here. I'm just going to do 2 pieces. These will also be coming right off the top. get the second piece in. And again, nothing in terms of this material here being in a specific position at all. Now I'm going to rotate this hook, turn her upside down. Now I'm going to tie on silly legs. This silly leg material came from Wapsi, and it's kind of the olive green. You could use a variety of colors I want to. One thing about this fly is it's going to be tied in a, it's going to be tied using a lot of material that doesn't have a vast amount of contrast. They're all going to be, you know, somewhat similar in terms of, you know, hue and whatnot, going from a burnt orange down to a darker olive green. Now, as opposed to this other material here, the Flashaboo and the Peacock Curl, these I am going to place in kind of a specific position. They're going to be coming off the bottom of the fly. And put one on one side, one flank, and one on the other. Get that tag section up like so. Take a look at that now. Okay. Give that a snip there. And then I'm going to snip this in just to shorten it up some. And it's about the same length of the rest of the fly. Get that out of there a bit. Now get the next piece going. And that one's about the right length there. And now we're in. So once again, what you have here are your claws, the big claws. And then you have the antenna and other large appendages kind of flaring off towards the front of the fly. And remember, this is the front, this will be the back. And when we strip this in, it's going to be a fleeing crawfish. So all of this material, as you pull your fly forward, all of this will be flaring back or going forward, basically going back and then coming back to the front of your hook as you begin to strip it in and then let it rest. Okay. Now we're going to get on a piece of back material. The back material here going to be zonker strip, basically. This is a standard size zonker strip. This is just a piece of orange. Flip that up like so. It's going to be tied in right in here. What I'm going to do is trim off a section of it. And we're going to tie that in just like here and then flip it over going forward like so. It'll be a little bit more understandable as I get that tied on. But I'm going to trim away a piece of hair from the hide there and create a little bit of a butt section, and that's what I'm going to tie in here. Oop. And that will go forward just like that. We're going to let that rest for just a bit as we tie in the rest of our material. I have being showered by rabbit fur right now. Next, we're going to tie in the body material. This is diamond braid. I got this stuff from Orvis. It comes in a variety of hues. This is gold. Also come in silver and kind of a light olive as well. And probably some other colors that I haven't seen yet. It'll be tied in right here. Then we're going to tie in some hackle here. And the hackle I'm using is going to be a strip of, it's almost a hybrid honey brown. And this is coming from Whiting Farms, who can probably make just about any color you want. And what this is going to imitate is the what are called the swimmerets, and the swimmerets are all the small appendages that kind of run along the abdomen of the fly, and that's what you'll be imitating with this hackle. Okay, and then all that material is going to be coming the forward part of the hook, which is actually the back of the fly. I'm going to bring this up right about to here. And this is where I will tie in some dumbbell eyes. And the original that Jeff had showed me were just kind of a red with black dots on it, something akin to that. And I'll flip this back up like so. And these will be tied on top so that that fly, when it is stripped in, will be riding with the hook up. Get this secured in here a bit. And with that, we should be in good shape. I'm now going to bring my thread forward, stopping the thread right about where the open of the hook is. Right in there. And now I'm going to start wrapping material forward, including the braid. I'm going to bring the braid back just a wee bit to cover up all this material. I'm going to figure eight somewhere like that. Let me see how that's looking good. Now bring that material forward. And stop her right about there. And what you can see is some material buildup more here towards the back of the fly as opposed to the front. And that's where the bulk of your crawfish is to begin with, so that's a good thing. Now I'm going to begin wrapping the hackle forward. Then we're going to lay what is really the back of the fly. Lay that forward. Really get this wrenched down now. Now we're almost finished. What we want to do next is tie in a tail piece. And the tail piece is going to be neck wing fibers from a golden pheasant. Peel off a couple of these. And this will imitate kind of a flaring tail, the extreme back part of your crawfish at the extreme back of the abdomen, and that tail kind of flipping forward like so. I'm going to strip away these fibers here. Get a little better piece. Or just marry these two together. Get the tips matched up. Start tying that in. I'll just flip up a little piece of thread underneath it to help it ride a bit more up, like so. And we'll whip finish this end with my favorite whip finishing tool. And there's your crawfish. And she'll be riding just like this. And again, all this material, as you're stripping this in, will just kind of flare in, kind of trailing the fly as you're pulling it. And then as you rest to begin to strip in some more line, this will flare back out, just cause that pulsating movement. And I tend to fish this fly in shallow water in the spring of the year, which is when I do most of the bass fishing that I do in the area. And hitting spawning smallmouth bass, but also other bass that might be in shallow water feeding. Heard a very experienced bass fisherman tell me if you have bass in shallow water, it's for two reasons. It's either going to be spawning or it's either going to be feeding. And that's where I basically target bass at with this fly. And there you go.